Okay, video 2 of 3. We are on Delta Airlines. At the end, Animesh, if your ticker is not covered, we will look to see if we have time to do it. But the proper thing is, because I do everything in advance, on Friday I send out a note. Okay, Dallas, Delta Airline. If you bought the dip into support, good job. Up here, it's not an obvious point of entry. That's the big statement. I think there are sellers at 35 and 36.5. But they might be buying small dips into an ascending channel, so see how much work they can get done. The easy entry was missed. DuPont. Oi, I don't remember talking about that in a while. Let's see. Oh, let's go back to DAL. Did I have lines? Not many. Okay. DuPont. If you bought the dip, correct? That was where they bounced from. So buying the dip and holding is one thing, and rallying to 72 is a different thing. I think you have sellers at 70 and 72. Disney, not an obvious entry point. In fact, it might come back down to 86 or 85.5. In the next few months, there could be a dividend headline. That's me saying don't short it. I don't know what it popped on, but they're selling rallies. Rally sold, rally sold, rally sold, rally sold, rally. It will be sold. It already did. Now, can they hold 86 and come back and beat 91? If they can, they go to 97. But I think they drift lower a little bit. Don't short it, but anyway. DLO. Nice P&L, whatever that is. Very nice P&L. What is this? Engages in the business simplifying, redefining online payment. Yeah, I'm not going to touch it. Online payment. The P&L is fantastic though, but so was Square. Technically speaking, you have buyers below and a lot of sellers above. Above 21, hard sellers. Below 15.5, 16, hard buyers. Okay, so for the person that is asking for this sticker, no need to submit it 4 times. And are you asking for Dow Inc. or the Dow? So I'm going to just cover Dow because that's the ticker you asked for 5 times. Okay. Sellers at 50, but if you take that out, sellers at 51.5. They have a descending channel of lower lows and lower highs, and I could argue that they lost and they're trying to recover 50. And if they don't, they could continue to bleed lower. Devon. It's doing what we thought it would do, dip. From here, I drew the potential inverse head and shoulders. They dipped and they haven't recovered it. So the dip is still fine. It's going deeper than ideal, but now you caused the problem. Now you have sellers at 46.5 and sellers at 48. So I no longer favor that outcome, clearly, even though it's still possible. You're hoping to hold the support and build some price action to 48. Okay, so you could take that price action and put it here in hindsight, and it would be better representation. I'm going to leave it there so I'm not reverse engineering anything. So you know, support and maybe get to 47, 48. eBay. Wow, that is a fantastic drop. And I don't know how they're still in business. I shop online all the time. I bought maybe 2 things the entire year from eBay, and I must have bought like 200 things from Amazon. If you find it on eBay, it's cheaper than Amazon, but for some reason the Amazon process seems easier. So you have buyers at exactly 37.11 from last October. And buyers below that. So that's why they bounce real hard. All right, that's a comment. Now up here, this rejection candle is huge. So if I go to higher time frame, it'll look like an incredible, not doji, but incredible rejection candle. So this is a daily chart. On that day, they opened down here. They gapped open down to 37 whatever. They fell lower and said, what did just happen? Let's go, and closed up here. So that was an amazing buy the dip moment, and very emphatic. Now you have to see if on this little drift lower, they can cover this. I would be long if I'm an investor. And if I bought the dip, I did great. From a chart perspective, it can go back up to this area from a chart. Okay. I don't know about their business, so it's a good buy the dip moment for whoever did that. Nobody mentioned it, so I missed it. All right. So you see how this line right there and the circle and the circle and the circle, you see how this circle was their death, all this price action. If I just move it right there. So we picked up that level from back here in September, and that was the battle. And they lost it. Who is this? Energy Transfer. So I think rallies into 1350 will be met with sellers, and they're doomed to be where they are, if not lower. So it's just as easy to get to 1270 than it is to 1340. So you're stuck between these two. Expedia, very violent chart. I remember that. I don't trade it. If you're asking me because you want to get long because you read that they beat earnings, we need to have a conversation. If you're asking me to short, good job. Yes, I would short against this. I would exit longs against this. I would not get long against that. I would buy the dip, if anything, where into 106 or lower. Extreme Networks. Well, Extreme Networks, let's see, what does that says? Weak spot, no volume. So I said this circle has weak spot, no volume, which means it falls fast. And whoa, did it fall fast. Just like this. Easy come, easy go, right? Now, it makes sense for whoever is buying this dip. If you're an investor and you're picking up some shares, yeah, I like what you're doing. I don't know the company, but I like the method you're working with. If you're a trader, I also like what you're doing. You're buying a dip into a sharp bounce. I'm going to put it on my to-do list to do homework on it. I really don't know much about it. If you want to help me with it, message me. GE. This is a conundrum. The company is slicing itself off a little bit at a time. I currently have puts and I'm red. When I issued the put idea, I said I've traded it like 5 times, lost 3, won 2. But the 2 times I won a lot. So it was fine, me trying 3 times, other 3 times and losing. And I also said both times I won was very red. And I gave parameters to exit. I haven't exited mine. I still have some time on the clock. And last week looked good for a minute, and then on Friday the close was pretty strong. So I may stop out. I don't know. If it goes above 118, definitely it's get out because it's probably going to go to 126 as a breakout on a chart. I don't see why fundamentally it should do that if you look at the P&L, but they are selling off businesses. If they come out with a business sale, boom, it's going to go to 128. So that's the statement on GE. It was a tactical short. It worked for a minute and then it didn't, and now it's red. This stock is going into a prior fail. It should find resistance. If it clears the resistance, it accelerates higher like Apple just did. If you ask me on GE now, it's better short than long, but it hasn't worked. Technically. Gilead, like the opposite of the GE, like this was the GE stock looking. This is the Gilead stock looking. So you're going into support. You don't exit long. You could start longs and exit if you're wrong. If you go below that support, you're probably going to go to here. But this one might get to 78. Google. acting weird. You know, Apple is up here. Microsoft is at an all-time high. Why is Google down here? What's Microsoft? What's okay? Let's do it later. So Google is not an entry point. Exit longs. See this? I said resistance, and if you get to here, exit long. So you're going into my exit long spot. It's not a place I would get long. Good company. Look at this target. Look at how close it came. This was here before this drop. And anyway, it's did its thing. Support at 129 and 128. 127, super good support. So I'm going to put an alert for myself here. Start looking at Google, maybe sell a put spread or something. HIMS. All right, so it has a possibility of going to 630 down to this bright orange line. And this happens to be the heaviest volume spot ever. Like if you look back, all this period of time, not ever, this entire period of time, and I'll give you a time frame on it, from last summer, or this summer, from the summer until now, this is the heaviest point of volume. So if it falls into it, both bulls and bears love it, and it's a decent P&L on the sales. You have to dissect it to see if they're bleeding cash and all of that. They have a lot of sellers into 720. So if we get to 720 or 740, I would be a seller. But if you take out 740 to 840, look at how accurate this thing is. Back here, they had a wolf wave target of exactly 741. Interesting. Wall Street shenanigans. All right. Honeywell. I said there's a head and shoulders. You see that green thing? I said this will be the target of said head and shoulders. Whoop. Right there. Now, head and shoulders are bad. Inverse head and shoulders are good. And there's one at, guess it, you guessed it, 190. Same neckline. So what is going on? The bulls are trying back to recover the neckline that cost them the dip. So if they go above 190, they have an opportunity to get like $8. But they're going to have to crunch through all the sellers at 194, for example. So it's going to be difficult. I would rather sell a put or a put spread than buy a call for that opportunity. IBKR, buy the next dip would be my comment. Into 79 and have a chance at a curl back up to 86. So you want them to do this. Okay, that's the opportunity. A dip from here. I don't know how deep it'll go. Maybe stop at the red line and curl back. Take this opportunity. And exit inside this rectangle somewhere. I don't know how you're going to trade it. I don't think it's very liquid on options. IEP. Okay, so here's the person that submitted IEP comment, I think was, if I'm remembering from without looking, they had a recommendation to buy. So I don't know where that recommendation came from, but you're saying the fundamentals are no good. I would never invest in a company where the name of the guy is on the front door. That's for starters. What happens when Icon goes away? Okay, I'm not saying dies, even though he's old. What if he leaves? I mean, his son will take over. Okay, whatever. I don't believe in a company like this. Like him or not like him, he's a brilliant man. I don't know the company fundamentals. It's as good as the portfolio they hold. So look at their portfolio and then decide whether the fundamentals are good or not. So this $20, $21 is a trigger to get it to 23. So if they can beat this, they might get to 23 regardless of fundamentals, or 22.5. You have weakness. Buy the dip into 17.5 if it happens. Okay, who is this? ISRG. I do like this company. Did I miss a dip? Yep, I did. A breach of 282, 283 might get you 295. But look at all these green lines. These green lines are moving averages. So on average, there's a battle zone above me. So that's a lot of resistance. But there is a technical pattern that says, oh, the target is like 298. Yes. But just like a couple of tickers ago, they lost a neckline right here. You can see it. And they're fighting over it. And the neckline is not like a hard line in the sand, but more like it's a resistance zone. Okay. So you have to respect that as sellers. But this target, if you take out this zone, you might get up here. Company's good. Good P&L. Look at that. Buy the dip was good. Maybe you sell puts on bad days. Okay. Look at that. Ascending channel. Dip, bought, dip, bought, dip. Maybe it gets bought. I'm going to add it to my list of to-dos. I can't believe I missed the dip on earnings. I remember that day. KLAC. Okay, I'm going to mortgage my house again, car, and I just go all in. I'm all in. No, I'm not. I'm kidding. It's a no touch for me. What are you doing here? If you're asking permission to book profits, permission granted. If you're asking permission to chase it up here, hell no. But Nick, look at this P&L. Yes. Are you a momentum trader? Go for it. Are you an investor? This here is not an obvious point of entry. That's all I can say. I'm not saying sell it. I'm just saying it's not an obvious point of entry for me. What am I going long? The P&L is stable, not improving, and the stock can't stop rallying. They must pay a dividend or something. This is solid P&L. It's amazing. Look at this. Solid P&L. So the opportunity is dips into where? Anywhere. Not up here. All-time high. I don't buy all-time high stocks. Very rarely. Okay. Speaking of necklines lost, this one lost a big neckline around 58.60. So 58.59, you can see all these green bars. You can see them. Support, support, lost, and they're trying to get back into them. So even if these guys scroll back up to 58, 59, 60, 61, there's going to be a zillion sellers up there. So my take is I think they chop around inside this zone to build a better base to, with time, get back to the mean. What mean? Look at this red thing. This is a pitchfork. That's pretty long term from 2018. Pandemic high, pandemic low. If you take out the pandemic high and you take out the pandemic low, like we didn't have a pandemic, this would be the normal trajectory of the stock. And a rally would just revert it to the mean. So I think it goes sideways, chop, 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 chop. So the mean comes down to it, basically. You know what I mean? But see what I did there? Mean. You know what I mean? Okay. Sellers at 59. How about that? Buyers below. What do you do? Nothing. You own the shares. You do iron condors if you can. LOMA for a trade, not an investment, I guess. I don't know. Super strong base where it's at. It's too noisy. Sellers above, a lot of buyers below. It's not going to go anywhere. For accumulation on stock, if you own it or want to own it, okay, that's a pretty solid base, a bunch of buyers there. So if you want to own the company, sure. They are buying dips, dip, bought, dip, bought. Maybe the next dip that just happened is being bought to ride it above the 8. I see it. Not options, shares. Okay. All right, who is this? Latisse. Well, this is an obvious, this could be an entry point because it's a collapse into a base. That's the technical comment. With a P&L that is this perfect, first of all, coming from a financial background, I do have experience slicing and dicing P&Ls. What is this? This too perfect. I don't like perfect P&Ls. That means they're like pro forma P&Ls. I'd like, if the world is perfect and if we ignore this piece and if we ignore that piece, this is what our P&L looks like. Anyway, find out why it fell. If it's because of opinions, then you did well buying the dip. Levels wise, you have a lot of support, but it extends through 45, 44. Looking shorter term, The advance above 59 would bring you 62 maybe. Yep, 62, 63, I think you're going to have heavy sellers. So Lattice, I can't believe nobody brought it to me, but has buyers, and if you lose 52, you might end up at 46. I think upside with this kind of P&L is easier than downside. Just I'm hoping. Don't be long up here unless they go above 14, because if they don't go above 14, they're probably going to go to 1290. It's easier to do this. If I were to guess, if we don't break up, if we don't take out this, they're going to do this and then that. This is an easier part. In fact, 1270 would be, or lower, would be a good entry point. But this is a good company. It's a big stock. By big, I mean it costs a lot to buy one shares. It's not that it's expensive value-wise. They need to take out 1400, and if they do, they go to 1460, and more sellers. If they take out 1460, they get to 1550. But I think they need to dip first, come back, and take those out with more force. Meta, this is not an entry point. You're going into a prior fail. If you take out that prior fail, you go to 352. So they're buying dips. Look, dip, bought, into a prior fail, dip, bought. I wouldn't go long here. If the markets is doing well next week and this one dips on its own to 316, I could buy that dip. But at 328, it's not for me. But if it breaks out, it breaks out. And what if you're not on it? So what? There are plenty of other stocks I could be on. What is this? Okay, so you're going into a prior fail. This could be a catalyst to get you to here, but I think they dip one more time to 43. But it's up to you. I don't go long into a prior fail like that. This one, okay. Listen, the car market is going to suffer like the real estate market if the interests don't stop rising. So put that into the equation. Microsoft all-time high. I don't understand what you're asking me. I mean, I had an arrow up there. Target if new all-time high. So yeah, it could be going to the moon, but you know, what are you doing? You better know what you're doing. Okay. Video 3. All right, let's go stop the recording.